Alright guys, welcome to This Week in Wrestling, covering everything that's gone on over the course of this past week, a week which today has seen some breaking news announced as former TNA star Bobby Roode made his NXT debut at today's NXT live event at the Download Festival here in the UK. WWE's Twitter account posted a video of Roode's surprise debut showing his entrance as he made his way down to ringside where he defeated Angelo Dawkins. Previously, we'd seen Roode appear on NXT TV both this past week at TakeOver the End, where he was shown in a backstage segment heading into William Regal's office, and also at the previous TakeOver show where he was shown in the crowd. So it would appear now that Roode finally has a contract in place, and while he wasn't present at this week's TV tapings, he should be set for future dates. So with this news, in this week's Question of the Week, we're asking what do you think of Bobby Roode finally making his NXT debut, as well as who do you want to see him face off against? You can see Twitter responses across the bottom of the screen where a lot of people want to see Bobby Roode take on Samoa Joe in NXT, as well as the possibility of Roode teaming up with his former tag team partner Austin Aries. What do you want to see though? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Switching over to Roode's former employers, TNA, and they too have a big weekend planned, as this Sunday sees TNA return to pay-per-view for Slammiversary. The build up to the show has been really good and seen a strong episode of Impact this week leading into the event as things continue to escalate between Matt and Jeff, even to the point that it gained WWE's interest as they actually subscribed to TNA Wrestling on YouTube earlier this week, presumably because they couldn't get enough of this Brother Nero storyline.
Brother Nero.
The full match card for Slammiversary features the TNA World Championship on the line as Drew Galloway defends against Bobby Lashley in a match that can only be won by submission or knockout. Full Metal Mayhem sees the Hardys in action as Jeff takes on Matt. The Knockouts Championships on the line as Jade defends against Sienna, and the Decay defend their Tag Team Championships against the Bromans. Also in action is the TNA X Division Champion Trevor Lee. He defends against Eddie Edwards, DJZ and Andrew Everett. Then the TNA King of the Mountain Championship is on the line as Eli Drake defends against Bram. EC3 takes on Mike Bennett, Gail Kim takes on Maria, and Mahalabi Shera teams up with Grado to take on the Tribunal with Al Snow. So the action all goes down this Sunday live on pay-per-view. Going back to Matt and Jeff actually spoke to Sports Illustrated this week where he said he has something big planned for the show as he looks to try and top Shane McMahon's Hell in a Cell dive, stating, "I knew I could top that. Every time I watched Shane, I was inspired to do something better." As well as revealing that, Jeff also revealed that much like so many WWE fans, he too is looking to the future and one last run that could see him wind up his career in WWE with a final match at WrestleMania. Jeff said, "I can feel my body telling me something. I don't know how much longer I've got, and naturally I would love to end with a WrestleMania, and I would love to have a Hell in a Cell. That's something I've always wanted to do, and I've always wanted to headline Mania." Switching back to WWE, or kind of UFC, this week seen it announced that Brock Lesnar will be returning to action in the Octagon at UFC 200, where he'll take on Mark Hunt, while still under contract to WWE. Speaking to ESPN Sports Center, Brock said that he couldn't live with the decision to retire from the UFC, and that's what led to his decision to return at UFC 200, as he wants to face his fears and not live his life with regret. Now, this is the first time we've seen any kind of deal like this, and it's a huge risk for WWE, because should Brock lose, it could damage his image as the beast that he is, or even worse, should he be beaten badly, then he may not even be able to compete a few weeks later at SummerSlam, nixing any plans WWE may have in place. So while it's a big risk for WWE, rumours suggest the deal happened because of WWE's interest in Ronda Rousey and a potential WrestleMania match. So while it's only rumours at present, it looks as though Lesnar being allowed to compete at UFC 200 could mean we'll see Rousey compete at WrestleMania 33 next year, after she previously made an appearance at WrestleMania 31 in a segment with both The Rock and Stephanie McMahon. Switching to NXT, and this week seen another phenomenal takeover show in TakeOver the End, a name which got a lot of people talking about what it meant for NXT, with Triple H revealing in a post-show interview live on Facebook the name was chosen because he's seeing the show as marking the end of NXT as developmental and the beginning of NXT as its very own brand. Triple H also went on to talk about the future of NXT, where he teased the women's division is about to get really interesting really fast. So it looks like we'll have some new talent arrive, which could possibly include the likes of Velvet Sky and the Beautiful People, as both Velvet and Bubba have been teasing this on Twitter. Finally, in a crazy story to end this week's show and show just how real wrestling is to some fans, earlier this week at an AWF show in Ringgold, GA, independent wrestler Paul Lee was wrestling a match in which he tied his opponents up in the ropes and began hitting them with a steel chair. Now, this didn't sit well with one 59-year-old sitting at ringside in Patricia Ann Crow. She actually got up out of her seat holding a knife and began trying to actually cut the ropes to free the trapped wrestler. Seeing this, Lee told the woman to sit her toothless self down, which really didn't go well, as she pulled out a loaded gun. Luckily, Lee managed to get the gun from her and subdue her until the police arrived, but it just goes to show how crazy some fans can get when they get a little too involved in the action. Anyway guys, that brings us to the end of This Week in Wrestling, but let me know your thoughts on all of this week's news in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this week's show, and if you did, I'd really appreciate you hitting that like button. Have an awesome weekend, and until next time, I'll catch you later.